show tonight, and I'm very excited, and I hope, take this opportunity to say a little bit what you guys mean to me, since this is a live show. Can you hear me okay? You know I can't smile without you.
Can't smile without you.
I can't laugh and I can't sing. I'm finding it hard
To do anything
You see, I feel sad when you guys are sad. You know that? But I feel glad when you're glad. And if you only knew what
I'm going through.
I just can't smile without you too. So, that's our edition of our Donnie and Marie Osmond part for tonight. But no, we wanted to talk a little bit tonight. Troy and I were both just in accidents recently, and Troy's was a lot worse than mine was, and we haven't really discussed it too much. Troy, take us back kind of to that moment when you were just kind of driving, and tell us what happened in your accident.
Yeah, it was mid-afternoon on Friday. I was on my way home from doing some little shopping, and some car in front of me kept in front of somebody, and they hit them, and I had nowhere to go, and I hit the middle car of the three-car Indeed, at about 40 miles an hour, and all the air brakes deployed. Car was kind of caved in, totaled it out, and woke up and I was in an ambulance. So was in the hospital for a little bit. Had a little spinal bruising, and a lot of bruises and cuts all over. But yeah, after about a week, was able to come fully on the road to recovery here.
Well, Warren, glad you're here as we take a look at some of our memories on the road. Glad you're still here. Glad you're still here as we looked at some of your memories. And again, I think it's this whole weird internet that we got here. So bear with us that we're live. But Troy, when you talk about that accident, it puts life in perspective. And it's funny how we were talking about that just the other day. And then, myself, I'm sitting here driving down the road. I had just gotten food for my son, and I was driving at an intersection right by ESPN where I worked. And a DoorDash guy was not paying attention, and I went through the intersection, and he just T-boned me. And it was one of those things where I didn't expect my minivan to be broadsided and T-boned, and his Kia took a lot worse than I did. I felt lucky afterwards, and I was really blessed that my son and I wasn't, he wasn't in the passenger seat. But now I'm dealing with, all of the fun aftermath that you get to deal with when having a car accident, and with the insurance and the car rental and all those kind of things. And I'm really happy to be alive, but it's one of those things that you don't want to ever have to experience, especially. Your family was out of town. They didn't even know about it for a long time. You were texting me as it was going on, and I felt blessed and pleasured. But I mean, initially, Troy, when you had that experience and you were paralyzed temporarily, we were talking about, we didn't know if you were going to come out of the hospital in a wheelchair or, you're going to be able to walk again.
Yeah, initially there was a lot of testing done, and luckily for my sake, they realized it was going to be temporary because the spinal shock, they called it, and good thing it wasn't permanent, because that happens quite often in car accidents.
And now we get to deal with the fun of both insurances and all the things I'm hearing about. Oh, he was doing DoorDash, so that's going to cancel out his insurance, and they're going to, it's this whole thing where now a lawyer said, I've got to go to doctors, my shoulder hurts, my arm hurts, and of course I live my life in my arms, so what the heck am I supposed to do? But I am blessed to be here again. We are here at Veterans Rally Point, and we have our students here. We're working on our podcast, and they're learning things, and we'll have a couple of them ask some questions later in the show. But Will, I know, we can't leave you out talking about our tragic accident stories, and I know you've got one that you'd like to share with us.
So I was was heading to Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta, Georgia. I got a text notification from Southwest Airlines that my flight was going to be canceled. I knew, guys know how the Super Bowl works. We have to be everywhere all the time, and I decided to rent a car. So I rent a car from Minneapolis, and I drive in Nashville, Tennessee. I get rear-ended, and it caused some delay. Raised our concern, both parties were fine, but it's just the fact that time consuming, and it kind of gave me a little bit of being afraid to drive for a little bit, but all I can say is I'm glad that we're all healthy, and I made it to the Super Bowl on time, and it was still a great week, and I didn't let that accident interfere with the week and the stuff I'm trying to get done.
Well, it's a very somber show as we've kicked off here, but we have more fun as we'll talk about later in the show. But I've got to bring in, we have a new sponsor that has joined us, and I'm really excited for these guys to be a part of what we're doing. And it's a little confusing because there's so many things out there that utilize this platform. I'm talking about, all of the gambling apps, and we talk about if you've got FanDuel and all these things, that's all said and good. But what we are introducing you to is Bet Analytics. And Bet Analytics is this great new app that you can get on your phone. And what it does is it gives you the opportunity to look at all of those weird bets that you can play on, like, how many times that, the Golden State Warriors win on Tuesdays, or a certain percentage of shots that a certain person will take, or what somebody does when they're hitting, and more about these things as betting has changed. Now that more and more people are turning to trying to get those interesting bets that are more of a sure thing, as far as the point spreads and stuff that they used to do. Now it's like, how many 3-pointers will he have by the end of the game? So, having Bet Analytics join us, and plus, you get 25% off if you use our show code. It's not such a bad thing.
Yeah, there's so many prop bets and things you can bet on now, and this app that they made kind of breaks everything down for you. And it's color coded, so if you think if Golden State Warriors can get 8 threes tonight, they'll let you know if that's a good bet or not, whether they'll have it in green or red. So basically, it helps bettors, get a little advantage of trying to win more. So yeah, great product.
It is, and I can't stress enough for my son and all those people that utilize it. Again, you get 25% off. Go to BET Analytics and type it in, and you put in our show code GSS Show. You get 25% off. I think it's $25 a month if you use it monthly, or you can sign up for the yearly service, which would be more off. But it really is. It's a great tool, and we're really excited to have them be a part of the program. So we're going to continue here. I've got a couple of guests coming up, so stay tuned with us. We got to pay a couple of more bills, but don't go away. This is the Gary Stein and Stevens Show live, right? Hey, we are right after this. Hi, everybody. Gary Stevens with the Gary Stein and Stevens Show at the Miami. Okay, if you two want to come over here and grab a couple of chairs behind me, I will interview you guys. By the way, hey.
Yes. Yep. No, question.
Like I said, even though this is
No,
so you ready, you two?
no, I'm just gonna ask her a question. Which one do you?
Oh, it's just on. It's on. It's still taping, and just keep it.
Of course. Where's our producer? It's just so crazy that his part isn't Duluth. Like,
Isn't that weird? Go to FreshFoodBreads.com. Don't believe me? That's right, you can look professional, feel good, and not spend a lot of money by wearing fresh. Amazing shirts. They've got Henleys and polos, long sleeves, and even bomber jackets. And if you like them, you can save some money by typing in the show code GSS Show from the Gary Stein and Stevens Show to save 20% off. So, if you can't be a major leaguer and you want to dress like one, well, go to FreshCleanBreads.com. That's FreshCleanBreads.com. Tell them Dave sent you. Use that code GSS Show.
All right, welcome back to the Gary Stein and Stevens Show, and as I said, we are here live at Veterans Rally Point. I have a couple of my students, Troy and Will, that are here joining me, and we were talking about accidents.
Dave, can't hear you.
See? It's always important to turn that mic on, especially when we're live, so, again, trying to move around and do all this stuff. We are back live. That's why we don't do these shows live, so we can tape them and make them look good, but, I'm here with a couple of my students from the Veterans Rally Point. This is just a great initiative that Easter Seals has put together. Me teaching TV and video and social media parts and things like that, and the veterans here learning to either hone their skills or doing stuff that they haven't done before. And I'm going to let my students kind of introduce themselves and what they serve, and then I got a couple of questions for them. So Ray, go ahead and introduce yourself and what you did.
My name's Ray Shabbat. I was in the Air Force for 4 years, 69 to 72, and then I became a cop.
All right, Nubia?
I'm Nubia Taylor. I was in the Air Force also. Air Force is holding it down today. And I served in Desert Storm.
And you guys, we touched on some accidents earlier, and again, we'll get a little lighthearted more, but Ray, as a police officer, I understand, that was part of your job, and some of the things that you saw, it puts it in perspective of what Troy and I talked about, being able to walk away, because you saw some people that did walk away.
Did walk away and never walked away.
And what is that like on a day-to-day basis, when you've got to deal with tragedy and seeing that? I mean, you must just get the PTSD from seeing some of the accidents and things that you saw.
It works on you, and one of the things that happened, it was a small child that was fatally hit. And when I got home from work that evening, I yelled at my daughters. For no reason at all. It's, you take things personal, and you want to protect your family, so of course I just kind of lost it, yelled at the kids. And it went on for a little while, but then after a while I just, calmed down, and I spoke to them and apologized to them. It wasn't their fault.
And Nubia, you just joined our club. I mean, recently you were in an accident. Tell us what happened.
We were taking our daughter to the airport in New York, and she was on her way to Korea.
Okay, now.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Losing picture. That's live.
So we were taking our daughter to the airport in New York. She was on her way to Korea, and as we dropped her off at 5 o'clock in the morning, heading back towards Connecticut, somebody was on the highway coming in the wrong direction, and they swiped us on the side and hit our car, and it was like a 6-car accident, and the trailer and everything. Hopefully, everybody walked away fine, but the car was battered up, broken up, and we all went to the hospital, everything was fine, and we all were praising God that we are all still alive.
Yeah, I'm the same way as far as what I experienced, and it's funny, as a motivational speaker, and Troy, you and I have talked about this. You can be born black, Hispanic, Japanese, whatever, but you can't be born. Here we go. You can't be born with a disability, but you can join our club at any time. And I hate when people join our club. Troy, I'm glad you didn't become honorary handicap or anything like that. So it is one of those things where, thank God that you were able to have your family. Tragically, you had to deal with it as your career. And that's why I say it puts in perspective, especially what Ray said. But now, Troy, you had a question for the students, right? Is Troy there?
Dave?
Oh, yeah, okay, here we go. Yes, you had a question for the students, Troy, right? Yeah, that's live TV. You were gonna ask them about their teacher, I thought. You remember? You don't remember our text? Troy? You
Can you
there?
hear me?
Yeah. It's like you're unmuted and muted, but like I said, We probably shouldn't do live shows anymore, but here we are. So again, your question for the students was,
Let me think here. Put on the-
can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, I thought you were gonna ask them about their instructor.
oh, how was it, to, have Dave,
There we go, yeah, I was just looking for them to bash on me, and now I'm gonna, here we go. What have you learned, how have you enjoyed this class?
Well, I love the camaraderie, we're all learning how to, produce, post, write stories, and we're working really well together as a team, I believe.
I think so too. I think we're getting along very good. Everybody's involved, and everybody wants to do it, then that's the best.
And it really has been fun for me, to experience, these kids and seeing it through their eyes. And if you haven't seen our stuff, we've been shooting social media things, we've been doing practice and podcasts, and again, well, our eventual goal is to have these veterans do their own stuff and create their own content, for this show, and do their own show, separate from us. But, it's been really, entertaining and fun, and we got a couple more weeks ahead of us, as far as our final project. But, hey, we should talk a little sports. So, before we go, I know it's, training camp, the Vikings, they're up in Mankato, they already up there, Will?
So they're in Egan now, the rookies reported yesterday, and the veterans report tomorrow. I know Jordan Addison is still learning from his rookie mistake, but he arrived in training camp yesterday, as well as offensive line and Kirk Cousins. So I'm ready to see what they can do. I'm looking forward to see how our defense can improve under Brian Flores as our defensive coordinator. And Kevin O'Connell, with what he learned in year one as a head coach, and seeing how he can make this team better in year two.
And, Troy and I have been talking a lot about the baseball season, even though, we're in training camp and stuff, and mostly all eyes are up here in New York anyway, on Aaron Rodgers and that whole circus, for the Jets, and, it just reminds me of when Brett Favre, left the Packers and he went to the Jets, and now Aaron Rodgers is following, and I don't think we'll get a year out of him and see Aaron in a Minnesota Vikings uniform anytime soon. I think there's still a little more in the gas tank for Aaron, but it's been a zoo, and, Troy, are you excited for the Chiefs and what they got going on in the offseason?
yeah, Chiefs, first Super Bowl, champions, so they're gonna try to defend their title. They opened their training camp up also tomorrow, and, we know we're gonna be at PG 3M Open this weekend. So that's gonna be fun. And so, yeah, everything is kind of, ramping back up in the sports world. Football's supposed to start getting good.
And then, I guess, if you're watching baseball, we've watched the Rays slink down and the Orioles shocking everybody and moving up, and, that Midwest division with the Twins and everything, it's just kind of who wants to lose the least to make the playoffs. I'm not sure, but, it's been fun to watch, and then everybody forgets about the Ohtani drama out in, California. Will he get traded? Do they have enough? Do they give up on him? So, I'm hoping that baseball, we still pay a little bit of attention to before football starts.
Yeah, like I said, playoffs, for baseball are gonna start ramping up here, about 45 games left this season, so, the trade deadline is next Tuesday, so we'll see what happens and what teams improve, and see if Ohtani actually stays. If I were the Angels, I would trade him unless I knew he was gonna come back. Otherwise, they'll lose him for just nothing.
Well, the Twins could trade everybody on the roster and maybe get him, and since he can pitch and hit, they just could throw up some of the.
Yeah, they would be a lot better, that's for sure.
Will, as we wrap up, it's been great to have you for a full 30 minutes, so what have you got planned coming up the next few weeks? Have you picked out your games that you're gonna be going to, or any of that fun stuff?
So for the Vikings, I plan to go to Las Vegas, Denver, maybe Cincinnati, Detroit for the away games. And then also we got Hall of Fame coming up next week. As Troy said, the 3M Open on Saturday, Sunday. So I'm kind of looking forward to get that PGA Tour experience under our belt to add to the program.
speaking of programs, I had the opportunity, as you guys, everybody know, put on sports camps around the country, and just had the opportunity to skate with a little bit and hang out with the Quinnipiac men's hockey team, and we put on a sled hockey camp. And I'd like to, before we wrap, let's take a look at a couple of minutes from that. It was really fun.
Wow, it is so
I assure you.
cool to be here at Quinnipiac University, a part of Camp.
I love that.
Help us. So, without further ado,
Originally from Afghanistan,
See what I mean?
so I have
It's plenty of fun. And this thing, that's what messes you up. You're sitting there going, oh, it's paused, I screwed up, oh, I gotta restart it, like, but it's playing out. So I always have to do that when we do our things and we're playing stuff. If it does this, just be a professional and continue to roll with the punches.
It's been great so far, excited to be out here. Some hockey is take everything for granted and just be able to help you guys. We were talking about it this morning, and people that are less fortunate and can still see them.
I shot all this myself because my sons didn't come with
Anything
me.
that we can do to make them happy.
Edited it, graphics, again, everything on the cell phone, music, all that kind of stuff. So you can put together really cool things.
We're so lucky to, play hockey and
keep pumping. There you go. Keep pumping. You got.
So is your camera on a stand right there?
Yeah, that tripod. I just turn it around and hopefully some good stuff happens in the background when I'm doing stuff, and then you look out at it, And this kid, he was,
on the chair, so
we had too many kids, I had to give up my sled, so if you see me on the ice, on my ass on the ice, that's because I gave it to him. Cold. Yeah.
I'm more comfortable because and I'm very happy.
It's so fun to watch them take their first strides and get right back at it. And I grew up playing stand-up hockey. I'm able-bodied myself, so to be able to teach such an awesome game. Super rewarding for me, and you could just see the smiles on their face.
Giving these kids an opportunity to learn hockey. Sled, but it was worth it. Team and the women's team that was helping out, just an amazing day.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I'm so excited I get to do that. I've got a camp coming up this Saturday with Easter Seals, 75th anniversary of Easter Seals, and I'll be putting on a little baseball camp for those kids with special needs and just everybody else that just wants to come out and have fun. So that's going to do it for our show. Again, we had to tap dance and do our thing, but it's nice that we get together every now and then where we can just kind of talk and update everybody who does watch us. And again, thank you guys. You can watch us on your home TV. We're now on Roku, where you can watch us streaming, and of course on all the platforms as far as Spotify and all the places, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all those places. So thank you guys for being alive. Will, final thoughts?
I just want to say it was an honor to be a part of this live show with you folks. Again, thank you for serving and everything that you do. We look forward to seeing how you grow through your career and as a digital content creator. We look forward to what you have to show for us in the future as well.
All right. Well, final thoughts. Your closing arguments or points?
Go ahead, bro.
would say, I think I think the Jets is only as good as, they will only be as good as how Aaron Rodgers allows them to be. It's all gonna be Aaron Rodgers, and as far as the Green Bay side, it's gonna show how good or bad of a head coach Matt LaFleur really is. Is the right hire for Green Bay? We won't know that until after this season, maybe next, so. Those are a couple of my thoughts on how Aaron Rodgers has impacted both sides of the trade.
It's nice you could analyze that with all that purple that you're wearing. All right,
Well,
well,
well designed, I think there.
get us out of here, my friend.
Yeah, I'd like to thank your class for joining us again, this time. Hopefully we'll have Quincy Carter, rescheduled here, in the near future. I don't know what happened there. Things happen in life, so, appreciate everybody for, tuning in tonight.
All right, well, that's us. That's our live show, all the glitches and everything. Again, thank you to all. Yeah, learning on the fly, and they get to watch us do right and wrong things. So for Troy, Will, myself, this is Dave Stevens signing off live from Veterans Rally Point in Norwich, Connecticut. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Gary Stan and Stevens Show. Follow us on
Does that sound like him? I use they have an app that I switched my voice to celebrity. so I can have
TV.com
it
or
freely,
now.
so-
We're on Roku. Download